I got this. Today's show is all about BRYSTON. Well, more specifically, their Back to the Future restoration program. But let me tell you a little bit about BRYSTON first, because you might not know. BRYSTON is a Canadian company. I'm pretty sure, I can't find the exact date, that they started making electronics, power amplifiers, preamplifiers in the 1970s. Now, as a matter of fact, I remember in 1978, pretty sure it was 78, I was over at my friend Jack's house. He had just bought a BRYSTON 4B, their biggest power amplifier, and he hooked it up to a set of Dahlquist DQ10s. Now, I don't remember the amp that he had before, but he was floored by what the 4B delivered to the DQ10s. So was I. I mean, I remember it just seemed more dynamic. It had more balls. It just lit up the room more. So anyway, that was the beginning for me. But that was 44 years ago. And if Jack is still out there somewhere, and he still has that 4B, with this Back to the Future program, he can send it to BRYSTON and they will make it new again. They actually do a 3-stage restoration. Tier 1 is basically a complete checkout of all the parts and replace any parts that need replacing. Tier 2 is making a cosmetic change, making a new faceplate, and Tier 3 is replacing the output transistors. Now you can do any of those tiers separately, by the way. You don't have to do all of them. But anyway, that is an incredible thing. And by the way, BRYSTON has complete measurements of the amps when they were new. Everything they made, they do extensive tests on, and they keep those tests on file. They can bring it back to exactly what it was 44 years ago. That is pretty extraordinary. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it. So BRYSTON currently offers a 20-year warranty on all of their products. So this sort of thing, the bringing it back to spec thing, would be covered for any BRYSTON that's less than 20 years old. So that's pretty cool. But anything older, yeah. Now, before I turned the camera on, I looked around on eBay for some old BRYSTON electronics, and I found these two. You could buy either of these amps, send it to BRYSTON, do the upgrade, and have basically a new vintage amplifier. That is good, because the thing I'm concerned with buying vintage stuff usually is that it's going to have issues. You know, it's buying like a 40-year-old car. It's not going to operate as new. But with this Back to the Future program, yeah, you can buy a 44-year-old amplifier and make it new again. Okay, so that brings us up to today. Now, I requested a restored BRYSTON to see what it was like, and they sent me this one. This is a BRYSTON B60 integrated amplifier. It is 27 years old. I said, give me some pictures of the before and after. So here it is, the inside, the faceplate, and you get an idea of really how extensive this restoration is. Oh, by the way, it comes with a 3-year warranty. Now, right now, the Back to the Future program only is available in North America, but that will change hopefully soon. Maybe by next year that will happen. Anyway, they're definitely in the process of moving this out and making it available to more customers. And before I forget, there will be an Audiophiliac viewer system of the day later on in the show. It's, as I said, it's 27 years old. It's a really remarkable sounding amplifier. It truly is. Now, it's rated at 60 watts a channel into 8 ohms, 100 watts a channel into 4 ohms, has a headphone jack, and I don't want to forget to mention that I used it with some Audeze LCD2s, really vintage ones. They're not 27 years old, but they're probably more like 15 years old. And man, they sounded really good. I have a lot of headphones, as you might have noticed, and I haven't played this one in a while, and definitely the headphone amp inside this BRYSTON was up to snuff. Really, really nice. So as for the speakers that I used with the B60, well, these two, the KEF LS50 Meta, because it's a known quantity, you guys know what that is, and also the Magnepan LRS Plus, which is a beast to drive. It is very low sensitivity. I don't know the number. I don't believe whatever number they say. And its impedance, though it's rated at 4 ohms, goes under 4 ohms. It's really, really hard to drive. I started my listening test with the LRS Plus, and I know this speaker well. It's very revealing of electronics. It's very revealing of source material, meaning the music that you're playing through. It reveals flaws ruthlessly. And I gotta say, this speaker, which I know pretty well by now, was so transparent and so clear and so precise. Everything about the sound was right on the money. It certainly wasn't bright. It certainly wasn't soft. It just felt like it was giving me everything that was in the recordings. Now, this B60 that I'm using here today is actually owned by a customer of BRYSTON. And he did the complete restoration program, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and that turns into about $2,000. It's serious money. But to put that in some sort of context, a brand new BRYSTON integrated amplifier, the B135, sells for $6,995. Now, I'm not saying, and BRYSTON certainly isn't claiming, that the restored B60 is the same thing as a B135, but I'm just letting you know that the $2,000 price might seem a bit high, but in the context of the quality of the parts and the quality of the company standing behind the product, I think that's very reasonable. I started my listening sessions with the LRS Plus, and I was playing audiophile recordings by MA Recordings and Chesky Records. And I found the sound was really neutral, really clear, transparent, pure, whatever words you want to use. This combination was basically all the good things about the LRS were in abundance. That was for sure. Now the thing is, the LRS Plus on its own is a bit bass challenged. So I decided, just to even out the frequency response, the tonal balance, I added the REL T0 subwoofer. And I was hooked up to the speaker outputs of the B60. And that combination, the REL and the B60 and the LRS Plus, oh yeah, because the REL made the LRS sound like bigger speakers. I dialed it in so I wasn't aware at all that the bass was coming from the T0, that all the bass appeared to come from the LRS Plus speakers. As for the recordings, this one by Morio is top of the heap in terms of its audiophile credentials. It was recorded live to 2-track by Todd Garfinkel here in New York City. His label is called MA Recordings. He records with just 2 B&K microphones up on really high stands, and he is the master. So there's no dynamic range compression, there's no equalization. It's what went down at the session is what you're hearing. And it is so 3D and so holographic, and all those words that I can try to use to give you some indication of what I was getting out of the LRS Plus with the REL and the B60. I'm sitting there thinking, this is really good. To play something non-audiophile, I played Radiohead's Amnesiac. And right away, following the MA recording, oh yes, Radiohead is definitely compressed and processed, understandably so. But it did seem, smaller dynamically, and just the life of it could not compare to what I was getting from Todd's. But that's not to say that I wasn't having a great time with Amnesiac. It's just so dense and textured and detailed, and there's a lot going on, and I just dug it. And this is, again, with the LRS Plus and the REL sub. I just love the way the reverb is just so spacious. It's all artificial, mind you, but it's so good. It is so good. And Tom York's weird, his voice is just so weird, but his vocals were just right. So at this point, I decided to switch over to the KEF LS50 Meta, sticking with the REL subwoofer at first with the B60. And yeah, it sounds, soundstage-wise and spaciousness-wise, it sounds smaller because, after all, these are box speakers with point source drivers. So the imaging is more precise over the LS50 than it is over the Maggies. But there's also a sense of, I don't know, what is it? It's just more conventional sounding, I'll put it that way. I mean, I think the Meta is a high resolution speaker. Absolutely. But I do think that Maggie is better in that sense, except the Maggie needs to be placed way out into the room to sound its best and do its thing. It's just that the LS50 Meta is just an easier speaker to deal with. There's no doubt about that. All right, now I'm going to do the, so Steve, what do you really think? What do I really think of BRYSTON's Back to the Future, well, restoration program? I think it's an incredible service to their customers. I think, I'm sure other companies do similar things, but they don't spell it out quite like this and what's involved and make it, you know, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. It's a beautiful thing. So if you own a BRYSTON already that's getting up there in years and you want to bring it back to as new condition, now you can. If you want to buy an older, you know, much older BRYSTON and have it brought back to life and save money because it's, you know, it's so old, this is another avenue that's now open to you. And yeah, BRYSTON's an amazing company. It's just their 20-year warranty. If you own a BRYSTON that's less than 20 years old, you can send it back and have this work, some of this work done for free in terms of bringing it back to spec. So yeah, BRYSTON, 2 thumbs up. Now it's time for the Audiophiliac Viewer System of the Day. These pictures were sent in by Adam. He lives in Germany, and he put together this system about a year after his father passed away. He's streaming Tidal with a Lumen U2, which is connected via AudioQuest Carbon USB cable to a Denafreps Pontus 2. The integrated amp is a Cayenne CS55A, and they're driving these gorgeous Klipsch Forte 3 speakers. The speaker cables are DIY. Adam made them with his uncle. Anyway, nice going there, Adam. Okay, we are back. My name is Steve Guttenberg, and it's true, I am the Audiophiliac, and I have this Patreon. This is the best way you can help support the channel. Some people join the Patreon, by the way, which accepts payment in dollars, pounds, and euros. Some people join for a couple of months, 2-3 months, and then they split. That's cool. And a couple guys, have stuck around since the beginning, which is over 4 years ago. That is amazing. Anyway, check it out. There's information there. The address is on the screen. If you don't want to do that, no worries. You could just subscribe to the channel, join the over 220,000 people who have already done that. And if you just like a video, please remember to hit the like button. It's important to me. And that's it. That's all I got for today. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I really, really do hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Bye-bye.